Hey, welcome back to the Bound by Art podcast. I'm Missi Blue, tattoo artist, business owner, and your guide to navigating the chaos that is the tattoo industry. If you're an artist looking to grow your business, attract the right clients, and learn how to survive this career without losing your damn mind, then you are in the right place. Every week, I'll be bringing real talk, actionable tips, and hard-earned lessons from my own journey with a side of good vibes and a little bit of sarcasm. Whether you're new to the game, feeling stuck, or you just need a kick in the ass to get that spark back again, this is the show for you. Welcome to Bound by Art, and now let's get to work. Let me ask you something. How do you juggle being a parent and chasing your dreams? If you're anything like me, you're probably thinking, barely. I'll be honest, I question myself all the time. Am I doing enough? Am I doing it right? Some days I feel like I'm crushing it, and other days, not so much. To be totally transparent with you, this is a subject I never really want to talk about. Not that you should do this anyway, but it's so hard to even begin to compare yourself to the other moms. Let's face it, our lives are just different. This isn't a 9 to 5. We don't clock out of being an artist. We just are, at all times, artists to our core, and that part of us doesn't just turn off when we go home. Navigating our demanding schedules simultaneously with demanding schedules of children is not fucking easy, but we're doing it and we're doing the best we can. I recorded this one kind of for myself as a reminder, but I hope that anyone with kids, whether they're small or you have teens, can get something out of this. What to do, what not to do, or what not to beat yourself up about, and what to give yourself a pat on the back for. We're all just out here doing the best we can with absolutely zero instruction manuals. So let's talk about the messy, beautiful chaos of being a parent and staying true to yourself. Let's get into it. How to be a mom and an artist. Why are you asking me this question? I'm literally failing so hard at this. At least that's what I tell myself constantly. People tell me all the time I'm such a good mom. Am I though? I question it constantly because overanalyzing my work isn't limited to just my tattoos or my business, apparently. I do it to my parenting as well. There isn't a day that goes by where I'm not asking myself, is this the thing that's going to fuck them up and land them in therapy? I know that it's impossible to be a perfect mom. I get that. I still want to be, though. I'm still going to hold myself to that standard. That's just who I am as a person. Maybe you're where I am and have teenage kids now and are also wondering where the time went. Or maybe yours are young and you still have all the time in the world. Either way, this episode is for you. It's for me. It's for all of us. I want to tell you all of the ways that I have completely failed my kids and the ways that I've been there for them so solid. The things that I would do differently and what I would do exactly the same. Things that I wish my kids knew and the things that I hope they'll never know. And if your kids are grown, maybe this will help you to just go easy on yourself. And if they're small, I hope it inspires you to slow down the clock when and where you can. So first of all, the ways that I've failed my kids. I didn't involve them in my art. I spent a lot of my kids' childhood almost hiding my art from them. I was tired. It was messy. That was my time to unwind and do what I loved. And I didn't want them getting into stuff and making a mess and ruining my stuff and my brushes to get all mashed up and drawing on the table or on the floor or the walls. Whatever reason, I told myself it would have been really hard to let them join me in whatever art projects I had going on. Either just didn't create or I waited until they were gone or asleep or at school or something to create. I wish that I had just taken the time to set myself up for letting them join in the messiest way possible. I could have put an old sheet down on the floor or covered anything that could get ruined or put them in old clothes that didn't matter anymore or bought some cheap brushes that they could smash to hell if they wanted to and just let them go. So every year around Christmas time, we do cookie day. And this has been something that I've done since they were very little. I think we started when they were probably 2 and 3. And it used to just be I would make the dough and they would cut their like cookies out, and it was like messy, but it wasn't that bad. They literally just had to stamp out cookies and then I would cook them, and they were just like happy to play in the dough. Not a big deal. But eventually, as they got older, they didn't want to do the cookies. They wanted to decorate the cookies, and that just got a little bit messier. And it's like, okay, well, I'll give them icing, and they can't really do too much with the icing. They're probably just going to try and eat it. And then that turned into sprinkles and icing, and it got messier. And then they got older and they were bored with cookies. They don't care about cookies anymore. So I was like, well, let's do gingerbread houses. That's fun and easy. And we have all this leftover Halloween candy. So then that turns into gingerbread houses, which then turns into inviting all of their friends over for cookie day. We still call it cookie day, even though it's not cookies. We still refer to it as cookie day. But now their friends are coming over on cookie day. And it's gone from 2 kids to 6 kids to 8 kids to 10 kids, all making gingerbread houses. And there's just shit everywhere. Like, and the house was so small that our kitchen table only really fit 4 people. So it was fine when it was just me and the kids making gingerbread houses. But then once we started adding all these other kids in, now, like, we can't fit in the kitchen. So I set up a table in the living room. I put down like a drop cloth that you would use for painting on the floor over the rug, because we had a rug in there. And, you know, just put this fold-up table in the living room, and all the kids were in there making gingerbread houses, and it was fine. It was fine. They were like probably, I want to say 9 and 10 years old. And that was like the most fun cookie day we've ever had. And it was so fucking messy. But like, I found a way around it. And I'm just like, why have I never done this before? Why did I never just like plan for the mess and let them be messy and let them like be artistic and do things like creative things like this with me? It just was, I was just like so tired all the time. I just made all the excuses. So I just like wouldn't do it. And it really, I didn't create, like, even for myself, I barely did, because by the time they did leave or go to sleep or go to school, I was tired, and I was just like, ugh, I don't feel like doing anything, you know? I wish that I would have just taken the time to do that more often and just let them do their thing. Another way I failed them was I didn't make them play sports. I know it sounds backwards, and don't get me wrong, there's a line. I think that there's a lot of parents that really force their kids to do sports, and they grow up absolutely hating it and never getting anything out of it and resenting their parents for like forcing them to do the sport. That's not what I'm talking about. Not at all what I mean. I didn't let them play. I thought at the time I wanted them to be able to do stuff. I wanted them to be able to go to birthday parties and go on weekend trips and go on vacations and be available in case they got invited to do something, or there was like some cool event going on we wanted to go to. I didn't want them to be hung up playing sports and not be able to like experience life, because I watched all of my friends' kids. It was like, hey, it's Milo's birthday. We're gonna do this, that, or the other thing. And we can't, we have baseball. Oh, we can't, we have soccer, or whatever it was. It was always like, that's all those kids did. They never got to do other kid things. And I was like, man, I don't want that for my kids. But what I didn't realize at the time is how much I learned from playing a sport. I've talked about it before. I played roller derby for 12 years. And the things that I never played sports. I played soccer in my freshman year of high school, and it didn't last very long because I decided I wanted to smoke cigarettes instead of play soccer, and you can't really do both. Although there was plenty of people that did. I don't understand it, but so other than that, I didn't really have much experience being on a team or playing a sport until an adult, when I started playing roller derby. And just the things that I learned being on a team and playing a sport were just like invaluable. You learn so much about life, about working with other people, about fairness, about putting in work and being supportive, even when it means there's nothing in it for you. It's just a missed opportunity for them. And I wish that I had made them play some kind of sport. They did for a short time play in sports. So my son played flag football for a while, which he was really good at it, and he really liked it until he didn't. He really liked it until he was like, this is stupid. I want to play real football. And I was like, no, I kind of agree with you. It's kind of, I don't know. Sorry if there's any flag football players out there. I just think that real football is cooler. I don't know. But he played for a little while, and then that was it. But he was already so much older that I feel like the lessons, like he didn't learn the lessons early on enough. So he didn't get teamwork. He didn't understand being on a team and being a good teammate. Sadie, my daughter, same thing. She started playing junior roller derby kind of around the same time, and she played, I think, for one season, maybe 1.5, and she also just didn't get it. She really liked it. She's really good at roller skating. She really liked the game itself, but she didn't understand working hard. And I think it's so funny because like I am like all about working hard, but isn't that the way it goes? Your kids end up like opposite of you, but maybe they'll pick it up later. But yeah, she just like didn't want to put in the work. She just wanted to play like the ideal position and wanted it to be handed to her. And me being the coach of the team, I feel like I was really hard on her, like harder on her than I was the other kids. And I honestly wouldn't even coach her because, the other coach on the team, I'm like, you coach my kid, I'll coach your kid, because it's like hard to coach your own kid. But she just like didn't get, she didn't get much out of that 1.5 seasons, where I feel like if I would have had her in this stuff from young, she might have learned those lessons. They will both, however, be learning them in high school. Sorry, coaches, in advance, because they will 100% be involved in something in high school if it's the last thing I do. My son wants to play football. He likes track, so we're trying to like get him back into that. No idea what my daughter will do. She is like uninterested in everything, or also interested in everything. It's like there is no in between. So hopefully they'll pick something and stick with it. Maybe too late for a lesson, but I'm still going to try regardless. And kind of on that subject, I didn't get involved in their school functions. I've never been a chaperone on a field trip. I never did a bake sale with them. I never volunteered to run the snack stand. I never did anything with the schools. Would it have mattered to them? Who knows? But it matters to me now. I always chose work over being part of their day at school. And just recently, my daughter asked me to be a chaperone on a field trip to the aquarium. She knows I love the aquarium. So she was like, oh, you should be a chaperone, and now I opened a shop so that I could have more free time and do things with my kid like this. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the day off. I'm going to reschedule my appointment. I'm going to be a chaperone for the first time, now that my kid's in middle school, finally going to do it. And I didn't get picked. And I was so bummed about it. And I'm like, this might be my last chance. Like, I don't remember doing field trips in high school, but I also wasn't there. Like, I didn't go. They might have had field trips. I just didn't do them. But I don't know, am I going to get another chance to be a chaperone on a field trip? That might have been it. I'm going to cry now. When I wrote this, I was upset, but I thought that when I went to actually record it, I thought that I would be fine because it would be like days or weeks later, but still stings a little bit. But, that was unexpected. But I don't know, is that going to be the last chance to be a chaperone? I won't know. But I also didn't befriend their friends' parents. The last thing I ever wanted was to spend any amount of time talking about the weather with their friends' parents. That is my own private hell, and I tried for a little while, but quickly became the avoid eye contact at all costs kind of mom. Would literally hide in my car hoping they didn't recognize it. My regret with this is I unknowingly excluded myself from what could have been a really great support group. Not for the other parents not trying, because they did, and they always did reach out to me, and they still do. And there's this whole group of friends, especially with my son, because they all kind of live in the same neighborhood. They reach out to me and they try to involve me and stuff. And I'm just like, oh, I'm too busy. Like, and I just like, I'm uninterested in it. But I also kind of feel like it's too late now. Like, I could have made these connections when they were younger and I wouldn't feel so awkward about them now. There's moms that have like offered to help me with picking my son up and giving him rides home from practice or to games and things. And it really is so appreciated, but I just feel so, it makes me feel guilty because I can't like reciprocate that. You know, these people, this whole group of moms like really go out of their way to help each other and, you know, help each other's kids. And I was just like too busy being antisocial to understand that we're all actually the same. It turns out I was like the snobby one, and I was thinking they were the ones that were like that because they're all, you know, in this super rich neighborhood that I know nothing about. And like, I didn't come from that lifestyle. I don't know that life. And I'm like, oh, you know, fancy rich people. I'm not going to associate with them and their, you know, multi-level marketing and their PTA stuff. What I didn't realize is we're all the same. Even if they live in the fancy rich area and have rich fancy people problems and nowhere near the same life problems as me, we all have the same kid problems. And the same, we have to work to pay our bills and kids are needy as fuck and need rides everywhere problems. We're all going through the same parent shit, regardless of what our actual lifestyles are, our interests and all of that. And that was just a really missed opportunity. And maybe it's not too late, but I do really regret that one. But despite all of the ways that I feel like I failed them, I do have a lot of ways I feel like that I was really there for them, and creating lasting memories with them is definitely one of them. The time that I got to spend with them was very limited. It still kind of is. Sometimes I only see them for 30 minutes at the end of the day before they're off to bed. But the time I do spend with them, I'm super intentional about now. We create memories. We do fun things. We experience things. We have meaningful conversations. We take trips. We make it count. Sometimes I think it would be really difficult to create these moments if I was around and available all the time. It would be sort of taken for granted by both sides. I just let them be themselves. When they were babies, I had this totally delusional idea that they would grow up to be just like me. And as much as I hoped and dreamed about raising these little mini-me's, that is not at all how it went. It couldn't be further from the truth. My son is like my complete opposite. We have nothing in common. He hates my music. I can't stand his. He's super into this like trendy things and clothes and has really expensive tastes, unfortunately. But my daughter is a lot more like me. I hoped that she would be interested in being a tattoo artist, and while she is artistic, it doesn't really seem to interest her. Because she's very into hair and nails and fashion, and I'm not trying to force anything on her, but that stuff's not really me. Like I never was super into any of that stuff. I'm just allowing them to be whoever they want to be, do whatever they want within reason anyway. But if they have a dream or a vision, I want to support that. I want to encourage that, whatever that may be, whether I like it or what I had hoped for them or not. I feel like I didn't have that as a kid, and it's always been really important to me to be that for my kids. I always wanted to be an artist growing up and was literally told that you can't be an artist for a living. You'll never make a living like that. And it was almost like every turn, everything that I did to express myself or wanted to be or wanted to do and just was my personality was really stifled. That it's such a shitty feeling that I didn't want that for them. So That was always something really important to me that I knew from the very beginning. Like, no matter what they ended up liking or wanting to be or whatever, I was going to support it, and I was going to like cheer them on and actually tell them that they could do anything, because I feel like adults tell you that when you're little, like, you could be anything you want to be when you grow up, and then you get a little bit older and they're like, but not that, oh, that's too risky, or that's too out of the box, or you have to work too hard to do that. You're not going to be able to do that. And I never want to be that person to them. Another way that I feel like I've really been there for them is I listen, like really listen to what they're saying. And I try to hear and understand them and believe them. I don't know if you ever had a moment in your childhood where you told the truth, a really hard truth that took a lot of courage for you to say, and had no one believe you, or they completely dismissed you or brushed it off or shushed you. But let me tell you, it is one of the worst fucking feelings in the world, a feeling I never wanted my kids to experience. And I do my best every day to listen and really hear what they have to say and act accordingly, because I want them to know they matter, and what they have to say matters to me always. There's plenty of days where I come home from work and I'm really tired. I'm kind of, grumpy and drained from my client or whatever, from the day of putting out fires and whatever chaos happened at work. And they want to immediately start talking to me about their friend drama. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this right now. And I'm like, and I feel myself just like starting to get really short with them and irritated and like not wanting to listen, not wanting to talk. And I really try to check myself and like take a step back, like, you're doing it again. Like, you need to stop and listen. And it might seem like nothing to me. Like, it's just like dumb high school drama, like middle school drama with, boys, and middle school friend drama that I can't care about. And it just seems so silly to me, but to them it's real, and to them it's like really important, and it's like the biggest thing going on in their life. And if I just tell them that it's stupid and I don't care, and like not listening, what is that telling them? I mean, like, I'm telling them the most important thing that's going on in their life right now, I don't care about. I don't want to do that. So as much as I'm tired and irritated, I have to stop and be like, okay, like, let's get the tea. What's going on with your friends? Or what happened to so-and-so? And I try to like remember all their 5,000 friends' names. My daughter knows like 500 people named Michael. And I'm like, which Michael is this? What are we talking about? Like, so I try to like keep up with the hot gossip of the middle school, but I think that's important to them. And I taught them how to be independent and take care of themselves. And some might see this as a bad thing, but I don't really help them. If they are perfectly capable of learning to do something and doing it themselves, I make them. I try my hardest not to baby them, even though my instinct is to want to help them. I know it's not what's best. Being so busy working definitely makes it easier to teach these lessons, because if I'm being honest, a lot of things they had to learn because I just was at work and I couldn't help them with it. And their stepdad wasn't going to help either. He's like way tougher than I am. So they've had to just like sink or swim. And luckily for all of us, they chose to swim and figure things out. When you're thinking about being a parent and what you would be like as a parent, not helping your kids is probably not high on your list. But if you do everything for them and you have all the answers for them and you give everything to them, they never figure these things out on their own. And our job as parents is to teach them to be successful adults, to be able to be adults. Like, our whole job is teaching them how to grow up and teaching them how to survive in life. It sounds bad on paper. I understand that, but literally just like letting them figure shit out on their own and making them do stuff on their own has been really beneficial to them. Like teaching them how to cook. I taught them how to cook from an early age. We used to do this every Monday night. I would teach them how to cook a new meal, and then we would sit down and play board games. It's incredible what kids will eat if they made it themselves. The same shit that I would make and they would bitch and whine about having to eat, they're like excited to eat it now. because they made it. And it was always such a fun time, and they learned how to make so many different things. And I'm pretty sure no one else at 6 years old was like cooking, which also sounds reckless, but I always, monitored and supervised. But it was like a fun thing we did every Monday night, and they actually look forward to it. And now that I'm saying this, I really wish that we still did that, and we should bring it back, because it was pretty fun. And the more things they learn how to cook, the more things they can cook for me, right? Pay it back. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I cook for my kids, because that is definitely a thing that I don't do. I don't cook, but I also taught them how to be tough and resilient. Unintentionally, I've taught them to be tough. They've been through a lot, especially over the last 10 years, and they've seen me go through a lot, from divorce to opening a business, just juggling all of the things, trying to mentally keep my head above water. They've seen me manage all of that. Maybe it hasn't all been the best way, but they see me working through it, and they're learning how to get through the hard stuff by watching me struggle and go through the hard things and problem solve. They're learning how to do that themselves. They've had to get tough to get through it all with me, and they did just that. Sure, everyone has their ups and their downs, and they have their teenage moments where they don't seem very tough. But when it comes down to it, my kids are not super easily influenced. They stand up to others. They stand up for others. They are unapologetically themselves, and they're just tough kids. All of that being said, there are definitely things that I would do differently if I could go back and do it again. And one of them is I would keep our routines. Like I was saying about the cooking on Monday nights, we used to have so many fun things that we did that are really special memories for me, and I wish we never stopped. We used to do favorite moments of the day. Every day we would sit down for dinner, and we would go around the table, and they would tell me what their favorite moment from the day was. And I would write it down on a little piece of paper, and we had these little boxes. I got tissue boxes that they decorated. If we're talking, they're like 4 and 5, I think. So we had their little tissue boxes, and they didn't really know how to write too well yet. So they would tell me their favorite moment of the day, and I would write it on the piece of paper, and I put it in the tissue box. And then at the end of the year, we would go through and read all of our favorite moments. And I hate that I stopped this, because it was what a cool way to be grateful and find the positives from day to day. And as a matter of fact, it's almost the new year. What better time to start this up again? I don't know if they would be into it anymore now. They're grumpy teenagers, but it was a really cool thing that we did. Just dumb little things like that. I wish we would have just kept up with all of those things. And life just got so busy, and we just stopped doing it. And I wouldn't stop family game night either. That's something that we stopped more recently, that within the past month or two. They kind of lost interest. I got too busy with work, and I haven't been able to get home in time on Monday nights for that. And I shouldn't have let this one go. It should have made more of a point to keep it alive. I'm actively working on creating better boundaries with work so that I can have nights like that back. It's been a long time though, and it's a huge bummer that we haven't been doing this. Another thing that I would do differently is I would make our house the hangout for their friends. There have been so many opportunities to invite the kids' friends over, and the thought of that has always overwhelmed me, and I kind of avoid it at all costs. But now that they're older, their friends' houses have become a hangout place, not my house, which means I don't know what they're doing over there. I don't know I don't get to know the friends. I don't get to be the cool mom. I'm completely on the outside, and I hate it. And it feels too late to be the hangout place now, but that's not going to stop me from trying anyway. I would also spend more time one-on-one with each of them. Spending time with each of them by themselves has never been a thing I've done. I've always liked the idea of it, but never got around to actually doing this intentionally. As they're getting older, these days are starting to happen accidentally. I don't really plan them. It's just how it works out. My daughter loves to roller skate, and my son doesn't. My son loves football. She doesn't. So we kind of have our things that we do now, but for so many years, this was not a thing, and I wish that I would have started that sooner. I would take them to more conventions. Conventions aren't really fun. If you're not working or getting tattooed or something, they're not really that fun. They're loud, they're busy, chaotic. They're really long days, but I do a lot of conventions and they stay home while I travel. They don't get to see what I do or why I do it. They don't get to experience it with me, and I have to try and to describe it to them. My daughter has been to 2 conventions with me now. I think she actually really enjoys it, but my son wants nothing to do with it. He's never been to one. And I wish I would have just started taking them earlier so they could grow up with it and maybe understand it more and be more excited about it, maybe. I don't know, maybe they wouldn't. I would take them on more trips with me in general, though. I travel a lot just for conventions, and I love to travel, and I wish that I would have made it a point to take them with me to experience some of these places more. Sure, it would have been really difficult and would have involved a plan of coordinating to bring someone with me to help me with them, but I feel like it absolutely would have been worth it. If I could do it all again, I would give them more chores. Let me be honest here. My kids are pretty fucking spoiled. They have 1 chore each. When I was a kid, I had so much shit to do. They have it so easy. So yeah, I'm at the kids these days stage of my life, apparently. So anyway, my kids, 1 chore each, dishes and laundry. And I do add more chores here and there, but man, it comes with a knockdown, drag out fight that I just don't even have the energy for most days. So it's like, if they want something, I make them do a chore for it, but otherwise they literally get away with murder. It's bullshit. I would spoil them less. I know I said that I listen to them, and I do. I listen to their stories and like whatever they got going on, but I know, like I almost have like this out of body experience where I can like hear myself lecturing them. I will get on a rant and I just like want to like teach them something. Like I want to tell them something, but they do not want to hear it. They don't want to hear me lecture them. And it's like I can't help myself. I don't know who this person is that comes over me and just like, I don't know why I do it, but I would go, if I could go back, I would listen more and lecture less and let them find those lessons on their own and figure out a way to guide them into the direction of figuring it out and not lecture. I hate being that parent, and I would hug them more. I'm not a very like touchy-feely kind of person. I don't really do hugs. I'm not a physical touch kind of person. It can be when I want to be, but it's not my first instinct. I didn't grow up with a very touchy-feely family. Like, no one said I love you. We didn't do hugs, or like we'd be lucky to get a high five, you know? So hugs are just like very invasive to me sometimes, and I wish that I would have hugged my kids more. When they were little, we had lots of hugs and cuddles and stuff, but as they got older, like it got to a point where I didn't try to get hugs every day, and it just like got to the point where like now I regret that. Like too much time has gone by. I just wish I would have hugged them more. I try to now, and now it's like, hugging an angry cat. They don't want it. If I had to do it all over, I would do this exactly the same. I still wouldn't force them to be artists, and I would let them discover art on their own. I never forced art on them. Their version of art may not be what I had hoped for or planned, but my kids know art. They create it in their own ways, whether it's writing or drawing or playing music or singing. They're free to create however they want to. And that is more important to me than them experiencing art the way that I do. Maybe one day they'll ask to learn what I do or be open to creating how I create. But until then, I'm just happy to witness it and see how they grow as their own version of artists and whatever that means to them. I still wouldn't give them birthday parties. That also sounds fucked up on paper. But listen, hear me out. I think around like the age of like 6 and 7, I stopped doing kid parties. I just saw it as a waste of money, and I didn't have much at the time. So I decided I'd rather spend the same amount of money taking them and like one of their close friends to a theme park or to go do something cool and fun and make actual memories than spending that money on trying to impress 12 kids that they barely fucking know and will likely never be friends with. Some of our favorite memories involve day trips with my kids and their friends, whether that's a road trip to New York to get a fucking garbage plate, which is a food thing that they are apparently known for. I wasn't a fan, but I guess people are. I don't know. Or picking up their friends to go rock climbing, or a girls' weekend camping at the Yogi Bear campground. All of these memories mean more and carry more weight than hanging out at a birthday party with a bunch of kids in their class that they don't even fucking like. I would still make them go to bed early and wake up early, even on weekends. I am a firm believer that nothing good happens late at night. And yeah, I make my kids go to bed early and we wake up early on the weekends and we go do stuff together. Every once in a while they can stay up, but that's like a special occasion and it feels special and there's some kind of event involved that doesn't become normal. I would still let them see me sad, mad, frustrated, confused, hurt, and see how I cope with those things. My parents hid this from me. They always discussed things in private. They argued privately. They disagreed silently. And as a result, I learned how to argue and disagree and discuss things very late in life. And I know they thought what they were doing was right, and we always do, right? We think we're doing our best, but something we're doing is always going to fuck them up in some way. Like, this was just one of those things where they're trying to protect me, and at the same time, I'm not learning communication skills. I'm not learning how to deal with confrontation and disagreements. Those are important life skills that kids need to learn, and maybe not all conversations are appropriate for kids to witness, but if they are appropriate, I'm not going to hide them. And they need to see that a happy couple isn't picture perfect all the time. And they need to know that disagreeing doesn't mean ending a relationship or a friendship. And I would still let them see me work too hard. I certainly don't want my kids to become workaholics like me. What I want for them is to see that after all this hard work that I put in, year after year after year of dragging myself through the shit and working my ass off, that it will pay off, that there was a reason for it. I want them to see where most people would quit. I did not. I want them to see that my success is a direct result of not giving up, putting in everything I have and am into my dream and working towards my goal. And I want them to go after big dreams and know how to reach their goals. I want them to see me struggle so that they know nothing comes easy. And finally, I let them see me overwhelmed and falling apart. I guess all of these things are kind of tied together, but sometimes it happens. I do too much. I get overloaded, overwhelmed, and I crash and I burn out. My kids have seen me burn out time and time again. Why do I want them to see me like this? Not because I want to normalize burnout, but because I want to prevent it. I want them to see clear as day how and why I got there, what I did to fix it, how I course corrected, and what I could have done differently. But because I desperately do not want that life for them. Things that I wish my kids knew. I wish that they knew how much work and how much thought I actually put into being a mom, to being their mom, and how much I've done to protect them. And I wish that they knew how great they are and how great they're going to be. And I know that's something like every parent wants for their kids, but I really think that they're just great little human beings and that they are going to go on to do really fucking great things. And I just wish they could see that in themselves. Things that I hope they will never know. It hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows like I thought it would be, but I know that going through the hard stuff and the messy stuff with them is teaching them how to go through the hard and messy stuff. And I can wish and hope for a perfect life where they have everything they want or need and everything is easy, but the messy stuff is where they are learning and growing the most. And if they never experienced the struggle of the hard stuff, they wouldn't have learned those lessons as a kid. They would have to learn them as adults, which is definitely not setting them up for any kind of success. Trust me, I know. I learned these lessons late in life, and it was hard as fuck. And I would never want them to know that I got so carried away chasing my dream with and for everyone else that I forgot the fucking point. The point is and always was freedom, and success for me has always meant freedom. Freedom to do what I choose, freedom to live my life on my terms, freedom to spend time with my kids and do things with my kids. And all the freedom I ever really wanted was to just have this time to create a bond with them and to be there for them the way my parents weren't there for me. I wanted to have a close family dynamic, and I wanted to spend time with them and travel with them and go on vacations with them, experience the world together and be involved. But my kids are 14 and 15 now. And I spent all this time thinking that I was chasing my dream. Really, I was chasing dreams for other people and trying to support other people. And I lost sight of that. And I lost time because of it. But when you're in those moments, you think that what you're doing is the right thing. Like I was saying before, you think you're making the right choices. You think you're doing the right thing, but it's hard to see when you're in it. But in retrospect, you would do things differently. But if you have kids, make them the most important thing in your life. Your career, your business is not number one. Don't make the mistake of thinking you have so much time before you know it, they're grown. And I know that's so cliche. People say this all the time. And I thought it too. It was like, yeah, I'm doing that. I'm being a good mom. I'm doing all the things. But looking back, there were things I could have done better. I mean, I guess everyone could say that, but these are the things that I would have done differently. Before you know it, they're grown, and your business and your career will still be there, but they will not. They will move out. They will have their own lives, and I know it's a delicate balance, and it's hard as fuck, and we're all just doing the best we can, and that's all I can do is the best that I can do. And I really try, but I try to really reflect and be introspective and check in on myself all the time to see what I could do better. And, this is just one of those things where, when I was writing this, it was Halloween, and what do I do with a 14 and 15-year-old on Halloween? They don't want to trick or treat. They didn't even really want costumes this year. So I was just like, man, you don't know it's your last Halloween with them until you do it. Apparently last year was the last trick or treat, and it's just, that's it. That's all the chances you get. Once it's gone, it's gone. And I never did really write an ending for this because I didn't really know how to end it, because I feel like I could sit here and ponder what kind of parent I am, if I was good, if I was bad, what I could have done better, what I could have, do in the future. But it is what it is, and it went the way that it went, and I know that I did the best that I could in the moment and the time that I had, and we can always wish that things were better or different, but it is what it is. And all you can do is going forward, just be conscious of it and be aware of it, and make the decision to make these little choices to be more present while you still can. I have 3-4 years left of teenager years, and I can do everything in my power to make sure that we keep our close connection, and that when they leave, they want to come back, and then they want to still be in contact with me, and that they still will look to me for advice and still come to me with their problems and things and want to tell me their drama with their friends and whatever, but it's going to take work, and it's going to take conscious effort. And I think that's all that we can do. If you have older kids, you're probably going through it too, and just kind of looking back and where did the time go? As they say, it goes by so fast. So hopefully, this makes you feel a little bit better about yourself as a parent. And if you are just starting out as a parent, this is what you have to look forward to, this train wreck of emotions. But, just take the time. don't put work first. Put your kids first. It's more important.
All right, guys, that's it for today's episode. I hope you're feeling inspired and ready to make some moves today. Remember, it's all about showing up, putting in the work, and staying true to yourself. If you got something out of today's episode, share it with a friend who might need to hear it, and make sure to subscribe so we can keep this momentum going. Get updates on all of our latest episodes, events, and more by following us on social media at Bound by Art Project and by heading over to the website boundbyart.com. Thanks for hanging out and putting up with my shit. I'll see you next time. Now shut up, quit making excuses, and go get better.